Poison, Junior Jones, the WBA's Bantamweight champion. 32-0 with 22 knockouts. Everybody feels that he is in the prime of his career. Taking on a fighter who early on in Poison's career was a mere stepping stone to greatness, John Michael Johnson, who now is 17-4, the USBA Bantamweight champion, and getting a chance at the title here tonight. I'm Joe Tessitore alongside the Iceman, John Scully. Ice, if Junior Jones is at his very best, this is going to be a great challenge for Johnson. What is the key for Johnson in trying to pull off this upset, a fighter he lost to early in his career?
Well, there you go. He lost to him already. He's a smaller guy, weight-wise, height-wise, reach-wise, everything. Junior has that great height and snap on his punches. He can keep you on the end of his punches on hard punches. Johnson, you would have to think the rule of thumb, he'd have to be on the inside working hard and try and mug his way to the title.
We will see if he can do it. The official introductions with Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Caesar's Palace here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight Main Events Monitor, in association with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, proud to be your bud, present an evening of World Championship Boxing. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, also sanctioned by the World Boxing Association. Supervisor at ringside for the WBA is Murray Sleep. The three judges assigned to score this bout on a 10-point must system at ringside are Dave Moretti, Patricia Jarmond, and Doug Tucker. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, working for the 98th time in a world title bout, referee Richard Steele. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get things started. This bout scheduled for 12 rounds, and it's for the WBA Bantamweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks with gold letters, and weighing in at 118 pounds. He's fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, and brings a professional record of 17 victories, 13 by KO, against 4 defeats, and he is currently the USBA Junior Bantamweight champion. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the challenger, John Michael Johnson. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the red trunks with white trim, also weighing in at 118 pounds. From Brooklyn, New York, he brings an unblemished record of 32-0, 22 by knockout victory. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the undefeated WBA Bantamweight champion of the world, Poison, Junior Jones.
I spoke to both fighters in the dressing room. Caution again. Obey my commands at all times. Shake hands. Good luck.
We talk so much about the mental side. Poison Junior Jones, obviously all the confidence in the world facing John Michael Johnson as a world champion with a perfect record. But could it be a false sense of security in that he already has the win over him?
You never know how each guy is so different in the way their mind works. He could, maybe when he's doing sit-ups in the gym training for this fight, maybe he doesn't push quite as hard because you already beat the guy. Or maybe John Michael Johnson landed some wicked shots on him the first time, and maybe he's doing more sit-ups. So it all depends, a lot of it might depend on how that first fight went.
You touched on it early on, the ability to keep his opponents at the end of his punches, and right away you're seeing Jones fighting at distance and utilizing that jab. He has such a long wingspan, good reach for a bantamweight.
I mean, he's got that snappy jab. He's got a Tommy Hearns type of jab. And, you know, he's so much bigger when you see him up close. He's so much bigger than the average bantamweight. And this is a guy who's moving up a little bit. So he's got, you know, Junior no doubt has strength advantages as far as crisp punching power and snappy jab and the height, leverage, all those little intangibles.
Look at that work from that piston-like jab of the champ.
He's got, to me, he's got one of the best jabs pound for pound in boxing. He's got a very snappy, heavy jab, and even as devastating as it may look watching it, I mean, when you're in there with a guy like that, it's just like he keeps jabbing you with a fire poker, daring you to try to get by it.
In this case, it's very easy to say why you would compliment him in terms of the jab. But as a fighter and as a trainer, Ice, when you're breaking down a jab, what are the things technically and fundamentally you're looking for to define a guy as, yes, this is a great jab?
Well, it's like, a lot of it's just, you just look at it. I mean, you can hear the pop of it. You can hear the sound of it. You can see the consistency that he uses it. Some guys have great jabs and they use it 4 times around. And he uses his jab as a weapon. Like, I'm a big advocate. I tell all boxers, the jab is a weapon. Don't throw the jab just because your coach told you to throw it. You have to use it as a weapon. Control the fight with it. And Junior has that type of jab where he could bust your eye open with it. He can hurt you with the jab. And a lot of guys can't do that. A lot of guys may have a good jab, but they can't hurt you with it. Junior's jab is a punch that you have to defend yourself against, or else you could be hurt by it.
At only 23 years old, already a world champion. And with this skill set that you're seeing on display right now, went to the body with a combination. Many feel he will rule for a long time to come.
And you could look at his jab. I mean, if we could count this, he's jabbed 90% of the time this round, more than 90%. And his other shots have been hard power shots. So it's a kind of a thing where you try to get by the jab, you have power waiting for you.
This ESPN
hand is way down here. Okay. You gotta step in close and dig. Get the jaw. Click him in the jaw.
2 or 3 shots. 2 or 3 shots. Now don't stop the jab because it's gonna bust them up. Might take us 3 or 4 rounds. All right? Don't be so quick to get back. It's gonna walk right in there.
The advice doled out by the corners of each man, really dead on. You heard Tony Ayala Sr. in the corner of John Michael Johnson saying you have to get to the inside and you have to go to the body. He has to close this distance against the champ so that he can smother that jab and eventually get to the body and slow down the superior athlete.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, some of boxing is just not brain surgery. It's not the hardest thing in the world to figure out. And John Michael Johnson cannot stay on the outside with Junior Jones because sooner or later, he's going to slip up. He's going to get caught. Junior's going to time him with something and catch him and clip him very hard, which is what he's looking to do. He's throwing those jabs to try and bust his eyes up, but also to set up his right hand. And as long he's like John Michael Johnson is staying in the perfect range for Junior to let it go. So he's got to get close. And the thing is, you have to be willing to get hit with a guy like Junior Jones, or else you're never going to get inside. You have to be willing to take abuse to win the title.
Round number 2, WBA Bantamweight Championship on the line outdoors here at Caesars Palace. The crowd filtering in anticipation of Evander Holyfield's heavyweight title fight tonight against the southpaw challenger Michael Moore. Chance to see one of the best in the business in the lower weight classes. Poison Junior Jones, 32-0. And in complete control early on. You saw a combination left-right to the body, and then always, time and time again, snapping that jab upstairs, and now turning it over into a double hook.
And that's something beautiful. I remember as a kid in boxing, I was told by my first coach that you have to learn how to hook off the jab because very few people can do that. And my coach always brought up Sugar Ray Robinson as the guy that could do that so well. And Junior Jones does that well. He jabs and hooks off it and then goes back down to the body. Now, one thing I would look for is he's pumping that jab and he's doing that beautifully. Now, if he hasn't trained his left arm properly to build up resistance in his shoulder, because believe me, that wears your shoulder down. It causes your shoulder to ache. And you know, I could easily see a thing where maybe around the 5th or 6th round, all of a sudden Junior's arm feels like it's going to burn and fall off. So you have to hope and assume that he trained to do this for 12 rounds. But if he didn't, Johnson will notice it. And if he doesn't, Tony Ayala Sr. in the corner certainly will.
This second round, once again, a round where Jones has completely dominated John Michael Johnson, just utilizing that left-hand jab. But you do get the sense that John Michael Johnson is a sturdy guy, and he doesn't seem to be effective. No turning back with John Michael Johnson. End of 2.
Go back. Take a deep breath and relax. Just take a deep breath. Bring that bucket over, man. Don't make him reach for it. Take a deep breath. Jay, only one thing I don't like. Going back a little bit too much. And then when you throw your combination, you understand me? You're pulling out of there. Why don't you throw whatever you're going to throw and then get down and look to work so you can hurt this guy to the body on the inside.
Johnny, you gotta fight, baby. Come on. You gotta fight. Okay? That's right, good.
Beautiful look at Caesars Palace here on the Vegas Strip. Early April evening. Round 3 for the WBA Bantamweight title. Poison Jr. Jones in complete control against San Antonio's John Michael Johnson. What did you make of the comments from trainer Joey Furiello in the corner of Junior Jones saying, hey, things are going well, but you had that opportunity to sit down and accomplish a little more?
Well, I think because it's a long fight, he wants to try and break John Michael Johnson down early. But by the same token, I mean, he's doing so well. Junior's doing so well at this point. I think at this point, I would probably tell him to keep doing what he's doing, because setting down on the inside would only make him more available for Johnson to come back. Like right now, Johnson has no answers. So doing something different that would bring you closer to him would only help Johnson in the long run. So it's kind of a 50-50 proposition. Me personally, I would have him continue doing what he's doing, because sooner or later, Junior's going to get a little bit tired, and he's going to have to lay in there anyway. Then he can start working on the inside. But right here, he could pile up rounds. He could maybe win the first 4 or 5 rounds just doing this, and that'd be a huge thing for Johnson to overcome.
So in your eyes, it goes into the if it's not broke, don't fix it category.
Exactly. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a jab like this and the height and the reach, giving it away, I don't know. That sounds wrong to me.
I guess the other thing to say would be that John Michael Johnson so far hasn't shown that he's got any chance or any want to counter against that jab. And it's not a kind of jab that's just thrown out there lazily and it doesn't snap back. It doesn't give you an extraordinary counter opportunity to begin with. And he doubles it up a lot.
Well, so I'll tell you what I think. I'm trying to put myself in his position, and I think what's happening is he might be afraid right now to try and counter it, because he knows Junior has that right hand cocked and ready to go, and Junior might be waiting for him to open up so he can open up and drop the right hand in.
You know, you bring up a really good point. Take a look at that right-handed Junior Jones. It is always in that cocked and ready position. And Johnson has to be conscious of that.
Well, it's very obvious. Anybody that's ever seen Junior fight, I mean, it's like a gun in a holster. Like, I love the way he looks. He gives you the impression that it's almost like he's saying, yeah, come on, I want you to come in. I want you to walk right into this cannon I have waiting for you.
Johnson opens up a bit there, getting a little brave now on the inside. It was a nice right hand to the side of the head. Oh, and he clips him solid there. So by far the best punch in this fight by John Michael Johnson. A short right hand on the inside, and now a rally here as we come to the end of round number 3. John Michael Johnson finding his stride. End of 3. Alongside the Iceman, John Scully, I'm Joe Tessitore. John Michael Johnson. Maybe a confidence boost at the end of that 3rd round when he opened up offensively against Poison Jr. Jones, who up until those last 15 seconds of the 3rd round was dominating this fight simply by using his piston-like jab. Round number 4 for the WBA title, a rematch of a fight that took place 4.5 years ago when John Michael Johnson was in his 10th pro fight and he suffered a loss to Junior Jones. In fact, his next fight was against Johnny Tapia, so he was in tough early in his career. He was 7-4 after his first 11 fights. Now he stands 17-4, a USBA titleist, and getting a shot here against Poison once again. Junior Jones, of course, a perfect 32-0.
And you can certainly see style-wise, especially early in their careers, how Junior could win a 4-round fight over this particular opponent.
You just saw it for 3 rounds.
Right. And this is a fight where he knows he's going 12. In a fight like that, he'd know that he was only going 4, so he could, you know, he could be a little faster and use a little bit more energy. So that's the difference. You know, that's a huge difference between 12 and the 4-round fights. Maybe Johnson's taking his time more than he normally would.
Johnson is taking small little half steps forward. I think he's doing a better job of trying to close that gap here in this 4th round. But you can see Junior Jones' hand speed still at any distance can get the job done.
Right, and it takes time to get used to speed like that. It's not something you just walk out in the 1st round and adjust to. You know, it's in the gym you might spar with fast guys, but in a fight with those small gloves where the punches sting, it takes time to get used to that. And he came on real nice at the end of the last round. He had a lot of momentum. And good
there's
shot.
That right hand, and Jones goes down.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Give me a glove. Give me a glove. Come to me. Okay, wait a minute. Okay.
Junior Jones goes down here in round number 4, and the upset-minded slugger is looking for a chance. Right to the inside with a flurry. Right hand comes in again. How do you think Jones looks, Ice?
He looks a little shaky to me. He's he got hit with a good shot while he was actually down, and that was telling. I think he should try and hold on a minute here and try and slow this guy's roll going.
There's a short left hand on the inside. Yeah, John Michael Johnson, after landing the initial right hand, he charged in with a few more shots, and actually it looked like he landed a punch when Junior Jones was on the canvas. Now more head hunting, and a series of right hands lands again. That right hand clipped him solid.
Junior hasn't held one time. It's like Tommy Hearns and Ray Leonard the first time. He just wouldn't hold, and he got himself knocked out.
Can the champ survive here? Makes it through the 4th round, but he is beaten and battered.
Junior, look, you're just not fighting. You understand what I mean? Yeah. You're just not fighting. What you're doing is you're bending, and you're not doing nothing. You understand me? Now, look, you better stop fighting. You got that? All you're doing is concentrating on defense, and you're getting hit. You get hit with a good right hand. Okay. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Here's a look back.
Now here he's trying to trade actually, and he walks right into the shot. And that's actually, he stays up, so now he's forced to get 2 more shots, including one when he was down that was kind of in the back of the head. That could mess the guy up for quite a while. And he's trying to hold his feet, but his legs are just jelly.
Now, you brought up the point about he got hit with a right hand when he was down on the canvas. There are referees around that would deduct a point under those circumstances right there.
And that was pretty blatant. I thought the referee would have been just if he did, because what happened is he got hit. Once you hit the floor, it's the kind of thing where you relax. So now you get hit and you're relaxed. That's not a good thing. You know, that could severely damage a guy like Junior Jones.
You're a sitting target.
And he got hit a little, it looked behind the ear too, which is a really bad spot to get hit in.
So what an interesting fight we have now. After Junior Jones dominated the early going, gave you the impression that he could win this fight with just one hand, his jab. All of a sudden, San Antonio's John Michael Johnson opens up with a right hand in round number 4, floors Jones, and had him hurt for the final minute and a half of that round. Things have turned around. Jones now utilizing combinations, setting the table with that jab and bringing the right hand. Scores well there. Looks like he has his feet back under.
It doesn't. What I like about him, for better or worse, he's got a lot of Tommy Hearns in him, in that, not just style-wise, but the way that he fights hard when he's hurt. Like, he's a fighter, and he doesn't always take the smartest route. He doesn't, you know, try to bide time and move and run and hold. He tries to fight you back, so he makes for good fights. But it remains to be seen if that's the smartest move for him right here.
Strangely enough, last October of '93, when Junior Jones won this WBA bantamweight title against Jorge Alicia Julio, he also went down in the 4th round, only to come back and send Julio down in the 11th round and won a unanimous decision that night in Atlantic City to claim this title right here and advance his unbeaten record. So he's been in this spot before, and he's been successful in this spot before, and he looks like he's on solid footing here in this 5th round.
And it looks like his jab is coming back to him. Not quite as good as in the 1st round, but it's coming back.
Three-punch combination. Tried to put the uppercut in the middle, the right hand. Back to the jab. Johnson coming forward.
I think Johnson probably has the mindset here. He's trying to land the one big shot again. And that's the problem when you hurt a guy and you let him off the hook. For the rest of the fight, you can think that all you need to do is land one good shot and it'll be over.
It can happen. It's unlikely, but he's already done it once in this fight. Thus the sense that it can happen again. End of 5. Interesting one here in Vegas.
Suck this up, right? And you're a great champion. You're capable of doing this.
Let's see what he was capable of in the 5th round, John.
Well, it's all about the jab for both guys, but especially for Junior. And there's his counter jab. He takes the jab away from his opponent. And Junior Jones, more than most guys in the world, if you took his jab away, he'd be nothing as a fighter because he wouldn't be able to hold you off. But with his jab, he's got a piston, and this is the first time since the beginning of the 2nd round that it looked like a piston. It looks good right here at this point.
Round number 6, WBA Bantamweight Championship. Best 118-pounder in the world in front of us. 32-0 with 22 knockouts. Brooklyn's Poison Junior Jones. He just got some really good advice, especially for a young champion, that all the great champions have to go through times like this. He was dropped in round number 4. This can be an instant learning experience for him, and not a learning experience that ends up being harmful.
Well, it could be an inspiration. You know, what people have to realize, when a trainer tells his fighter something in the corner, things that might sound odd to the average person, there's a reason for it. He knows his fighter. Now, maybe, I'm just guessing, maybe Junior has a sense of history, like a Mike Tyson does. He has a sense of that. So maybe Joey telling him, hey, this is what the great champions do. In other words, maybe he's telling him, you've always told me you wanted to be a great champion. This is how you do it. So trainers have a way of talking to their fighter that they would talk differently to a different fighter. So I'm sure Joey assumes that's something that helps Junior.
Really nice looking combination there from Jones. He went 1-2 and then the left hand to the body.
He's really a very impressive offensive machine. When he throws his punches, just like Tommy Hearns, Mark Breland, guys that with his height and stature and power, when they let their hands go, they look good. They really, like right there, that was a beautiful combination.
If you're tall and wiry and athletic in any weight class, you're going to look brilliant offensively.
Right, letting your hands go, because the arms are like whips. And generally, contrary to what the average person might think, tall, slim guys like this generally generate a lot of power.
Oh, they got leverage.
I mean, Bob Foster, guys like that. I mean, they have that one punch. I mean, Tommy Hearns at welterweight was devastating. And Junior, on the one hand, Junior's the same way. On the other hand, you have to give John Michael Johnson credit. It shows you the conditioning of a professional athlete. Like, he's taking some hellacious body shots here. And for him not to even flinch, people might watch this and go, oh, yeah, he took the body shot. But to take it is impressive.
Johnson now does get to the inside, but he's unable to score there against Jones.
He's got to work harder, and it's at the point you're halfway through the fight. It's more than just punches now. You have to be physical. You have to get Junior tired, and the punches aren't the only thing that can do that.
This was a very, very good round for the champ.
I, Tony Sinclair, went on a quest for cocktail nirvana, and I found it.
Discover Tanqueray Rangpur, the new mixable gin that goes with everything.
What's next? Ice cubes that don't melt.
Always in moderation.
Greetings, concerned parent. Is your child controlling your mind, influencing your purchase decisions? Do you find yourself giving in when normally you'd be saying, no way? Obviously, your child wants something from you, and they're using mind control to get it. There are ways you can defend yourself from unwanted mind control, but the most important thing is vigilance, eternal vigilance. Don't ever let your guard down. And remember, you are the grown-up.
And grown-ups like you want their kids to have the very best. Like the new HP Pavilion DV6000T, just $749.99. It's one powerful notebook at a great low price, and it's covered by HP Total Care. Other notebooks start at $449.99. The computer is personal again.
In this life, you'll spend over 2 weeks tying your shoes, a year looking for lost socks, and over 4 years waiting until 9 p.m. to make calls. Unless you find a better way. Get Sprint and start waiting less with unlimited calling at 7 p.m. And for more ways to wait less in your life, visit waitless.org. Now get up to 5 free phones for your whole family with Sprint.
Here's a radically simple suggestion from eLoan. If your adjustable mortgage rate keeps rising, maybe it's time to call eLoan at 1-800-TRY-ELOAN or go to eLoan.com for a fixed-rate mortgage with one low monthly payment. eLoan. Radically simple.
ESPN Classic is opening up the boxing vault. Now with rarely seen fights, featuring some of the biggest names in boxing. Classic Night at the Fights, 8 p.m. weeknights, only on ESPN Classic.
Oh, I know. Hey, Johnny, I know it's hurt.
John Michael Johnson.
I know it hurt, but listen, all pain has to go now. You got to fight now. Lean back on this thing. Lean back.
Understand? It did happen. Now you got to become stronger. You got to keep using that jab.
Poison Junior Jones. They're talking about the knockdown that occurred in the 4th round. And you could hear Johnson complaining about pain. Halfway through this championship fight, WBA Bantamweight title on the line here at Caesars Palace, where the stars always come out. Jack Nicholson ringside tonight. Of course, in about an hour, there will be plenty Hollywood elites and sports celebrities as Evander Holyfield, the heavyweight champion of the world, is set to defend his crown against the southpaw upstart Michael Moore. Should be a good fight coming up later. We got a good one right now. Poison Junior Jones, best bantamweight in the world, 23-year-old from Brooklyn, perfect 32-0, dominating the first half of this fight with the exception of the 4th round that he almost didn't survive. John Michael Johnson clipped him with a right hand, had him in trouble in the final minute with a series of right hands, but Jones gathered himself and has got right back on that walking stick of that piston jab and utilizing the hand speed and combinations. And John Scully, on my scorecard, I think Jones has a 5-1 advantage in rounds 1. The only round he lost, obviously, the round that he was hurt. I know you lean a little bit towards John Michael Johnson because of the work that he did right at the end of the 3rd round, possibly 4 rounds to 2 on your scorecard.
Right. I thought that his ending of the 3rd was more impressive judging-wise than the previous part. He landed a lot of good shots in a very short period of time, and that has a way of influencing the judges when it's at the end of the round. That's the last thing they remember. So either way, it's 1 or 2 rounds for Johnson, the rest for Junior.
And that end of the 3rd round kind of forecast what we would see in the 4th round. But since then, back to basics for Junior Jones. Now, we heard after the 6th round, John Michael Johnson complaining about pain that he was dealing with. Has he shown you anything here in this 7th round, maybe a lack of punch output to tell you that he is dealing with an injury?
Well, I was going to say he hasn't thrown very many punches thus far. And Junior's back at that jab, pumping it, I call it. So that could certainly slow a guy down also. And there's a good right hand. Junior digs. He gets a lot of leverage on his punches. And you know, it's human beings you're dealing with. That has a way of slowing a guy down also. But he did complain in the corner, so you have to trust what he says.
See if he can gut it out and deal with the pain. Hasn't thrown that right hand much. That was the weapon of choice. Now his short chopping right hand. That was the weapon of choice in the 4th round when John Michael Johnson was all over Junior Jones.
At this point, like I was beginning to say in the last round, John Michael Johnson needs to get a little bit more physical. I mean, he hasn't been physical at all other than throwing punches. He has to get on the inside and kind of muscle and maul his way in there to force Junior to wrestle with him a little bit and to tire himself out. Because right now, coming forward as John Michael is, he's just basically hoping that Junior gets tired. And if you don't make a guy tired, he's not going to get tired.
End of 7. Sun starting the set here at Caesars Palace. And is it starting to set on the opportunities for John Michael Johnson as Poison Junior Jones, the undefeated Bantamweight champion of the world, seemingly in control here as we head into this 8th round. John Michael Johnson has won 5 straight fights by knockout heading into this championship bout. Not one of those knockout victims able to get past the 8th round. Here we are starting the 8th round.
Now Junior's added the feint into the equation. He feints first, then he throws the jab, which just is added trouble for John Michael Johnson. When a guy like Junior starts feinting you and freezing you up and then jabbing, the jab becomes even harder because it catches you. It's almost like you're a deer in the headlights. So John Michael Johnson definitely needs to step up his output, not just with punches, but with head movement and with pushing and being physical and kind of establishing himself. Because he hasn't really established himself. Other than knocking Junior down, he hasn't established himself in a way where you'd think that he could really get something done other than just by hoping.
There's that jab coming off the hip now. Jones fighting, taking steps back for the most part in this 8th round. And Johnson has been unable to corral him. Now they tie up as Johnson was able to get to the inside, but unable to score. Back to the jab for Jones.
And it's like I say, I like the impression he gives. Junior gives the impression that his right hand is always ready to let fly. He's always ready to let it blast away. And I think John Michael Johnson obviously sees that, and that's making him a little bit hesitant.
Interestingly enough, Ice, here we are with a minute to go in the 8th round. And Jones has really been peppering Johnson all night long with the jab, and he's been landing solid body punches. And still, Johnson seems unaffected.
Right, I don't get the impression that he's really been hurt or dazed, but he's keeping his hands up and he's coming forward. So, I mean, if you know how to do it, that's not really the hardest thing in the world to do. You could do it, but you're not going to win either. You know, so he can get through these rounds and not get hurt. but he's got to let his hands go. There's a good right hand.
There's that short right hand on the inside, and now he clips him with a combination. We know what happened in the 4th round. This is reminiscent of what he did at the end of the 3rd round. Waited, and all of a sudden found the opportunity late and started headhunting. So another late rally by John Michael Johnson. What will it bring around in round number 9? Stay with us and we will find out if San Antonio's finest can find the target. Into the champ's corner.
One thing. When you keep on going back and you don't throw no punches, and that's what's happening. You understand me? He's getting braver and braver. Okay. You get inside, you're not really looking to work. After you throw your first combination, you're not looking to work. You see, you've got to be looking to punch. You're going away with it. You got to step with the jab. You got to fire one combination.
Being brave paid off for Johnson in that 8th round, John Scully.
Well, here's what's great about boxing now. This is what years and years of training will do. Now here, Junior throws a left hook, and Johnson comes right back with a right hand. Now that's basic boxing. When a person throws a left hook, it's not possible for them to protect the left side of their face. So he throws the right hand and lands it cleanly. That's really good boxing.
Do you expect that momentum from the end of that 8th round to carry over now into this 9th round?
You would think so. You would think a guy going for the world title with a good champion in front of him, maybe sensing a little weakness in the champion, now he knows, I mean, even without that, he should step it up. I mean, this is the type of fight where, you know, the way it's going, he's not going to win a decision, so he's got to step it up and try and take advantage of Junior.
Young man from San Antonio, John Michael Johnson in the black trunks, who was 7-4 after his first 11 fights as a pro, including a loss to his opponent tonight, Poison Junior Jones, the current undefeated world champion. Here he is now 17-4, fighting for the title in a fight that in the 4th round, he thought maybe he could close things up and win by knockout. He had the champ hurt. Now Johnson utilizing the jab coming forward here.
And he actually had landed a really good right hand right before that Junior complained about. I'm not sure what he was complaining about, but he's landing some good shots. It seems like, I think Junior's the harder puncher and the better looking puncher, but when Johnson lands his shots, they gain more of a reaction. Like he lands good-looking shots where Junior's head kind of wobbles around. So it's kind of what you're looking for, depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah, as if Poison's punches have snap to them and speed to them, but John Michael Johnson is a plotter who thuds.
Right, well, what I mean is also, like, Junior's landing all these punches, but he's not getting any reaction at all.
Absolutely not. In fact, we were commenting just a round or two ago as to the fact that Jones has landed so many punches, but Johnson seems completely unaffected.
Right.
As if I'm coming forward,
his head
I don't
doesn't
mind.
bobble or anything, where Junior has his chin up in the air a lot, which is a big mistake for any boxer. You learn as an amateur, keep your chin down. So what happens is, when he gets hit with his chin up in the air, it looks worse. You know, it looks like people in the top row can see it. Whereas when John Michael Johnson is covering up and Junior's ripping those shots in there, those are beautiful, but there's not an obvious reaction. So, you know, to the average person watching this, they'll remember John Michael's punches more than they'll remember Junior's.
No doubt about it, especially that 4th round. Jones was hurt. Jones' jab here in round number 9, not what it was in the previous 8.
Junior, listen to me now. You want to lose the title? All right, you got 3 rounds to go. You understand me? 3 rounds to go. It's just like the Julio fight. You got to suck it up now. You're going back. You're looking to hold on the inside. You're not looking to work. This guy is. You understand? You keep holding like that, he'll tear you apart. You've got to throw punches.
Now there's a good right hand, and it's a good-looking shot. Junior's head kind of bobbles to the side, and that's what fans notice, judges notice. There it is, like, and it backed Junior up. So the showier punches come from Johnson, even though Junior's throwing more, and probably in the end of the day is landing more.
The outdoor arena here at Caesars Palace starting to fill up. Fans watching a good go of it with the upset-minded John Michael Johnson now coming on stronger here as we enter round number 10. Scored a knockdown in the 4th round against the undefeated world champion in the red trunks, Poison Junior Jones. Doesn't get more basic and simple than the message that was delivered to Jones in the corner. You need to work more. You're not looking to work. This guy is looking to work.
And I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with Joey Ferriello's corner work, the way he talks to Junior. I really like it. His style is something that I really like. I really do.
Been giving him good, honest advice all night long. And now Jones utilizing the hand speed and the combinations, but Johnson meets him on the inside and scores well. Both men firing off uppercuts. Johnson has really closed the gap in that real estate that was such a big factor early on in this fight.
This is a good round for both guys. They're both landing good shots, and this is a dangerous round for both of them. Like they both seem to be in the mode of wanting to trade a little bit more. Maybe because the end of the fight is coming and they sense that they need to impress the judges more.
Which you have to think is an advantage for Johnson because he needs the fight to be fought that way.
Oh, definitely. Like, that's his chance. That's his really only chance at this point. Because if Junior decided now, and if he had the conditioning now to get up on his toes and just pump the jab 40 times around, he could theoretically, like he did in the first, he could win the round easy and you know, take the momentum away and win an easy decision.
Johnson at best, in my eyes, maybe you could give him 3 rounds. Definitely the last round. Absolutely a 10-8 4th round, and likely the 3rd round. But by all accounts, Junior Jones is leading on everyone's scorecard observing ringside.
Yeah, I would say Junior's ahead. It's the type of thing where he's probably comfortably ahead, but that doesn't reflect the quality of the fight.
No doubt. John Michael Johnson is a threat.
Definitely, he's definitely a good fighter. I mean, even if he loses this fight by 6 rounds, on the scorecards it won't look so great for him if you didn't see the fight, but he's definitely a formidable opponent for sure.
I'm going to throw out a descriptive of John Michael Johnson just based on watching these first 10 rounds. You tell me what you think. The guy is sturdy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Junior, he's making Junior look like a guy that doesn't punch all that hard, but they call Junior Poison Jones because of his power.
The championship rounds have arrived. Can Poison hold on? Tony Ayala Sr. and John Michael Johnson plotting their strategy here as they head into the last 2 rounds of this WBA Bantamweight title. You know, we listened in a few rounds ago to Johnson and Ayala, and we heard Johnson complaining about severe pain.
Johnny, you're controlling the fight. The only thing you got to do.
Hasn't really showed up as the fight has progressed. He's been coming on strong. I really like the work he showed in both rounds 9 and 10. We'll see if he can make a late rally here in rounds 11 and 12.
And in any fight like this, I mean, he's the challenger. He's got to assume, even if this wasn't Junior Jones the champion, even if Junior wouldn't get the benefit of the doubt because he's champion, you'd have to figure you're behind. You'd have to figure 2 rounds. Even if you won these 2 rounds, it's not gonna sway it in your favor. So really, strategy is you have to win by knockout. You have to go and throw big shots. Like the jab is, you know, you're not really going to set the guy up. There you go, good right hand. And,
needs to jump on him.
Right, he's got to hurt. You know, he's got to hurt this guy to take the title. He's not gonna
they got him again. Comes in with a right hand, couple left hooks. Who knows? Go for broke. Why not? Oh, Junior Jones is hurt. He is hurt.
It seemed like he fell kind of from fatigue there.
He's complaining about the knockdown, but the bottom line is it was a knockdown.
Well, his legs are, you know, weak, and I think that's why he fell, because of his weak legs.
And there's now a point deduction being handed out by referee Richard Steele, and that was because Johnson once again attempted a punch when Jones was on the canvas. That happened in the 4th round also. Right. There's another right hand that comes in.
Good shots.
Junior Jones.
Go for broke. Dig in now.
A barrage of punches from the upset-minded San Antonio fighter. It is over. Can you believe this? TKO. What a stunner at Caesar's Palace. John Michael Johnson has pulled the upset. Junior Jones is in disbelief. John Michael Johnson, we had said John Scully, seemingly behind, according to every ringside observer here, but he had hurt him in the 4th round, Junior Jones. He had him down there. So in the back of his head, he thought he could do it again. Well, guess what? He did.
And that's what I love about boxing. I mean, the guy, he showed something that the great fighters show. He's able to come from behind and get a late round knockout. You know, a lot of guys, good fighters, try that and just can't pull it up. So he put on a good display here. He came from behind and won the world title. And here he goes. Now this is where he's going to hurt Junior. And I think actually Junior's already hurt at this point. Left hook, right hand, and there's the showy looking punches, and that's it. That's the end of the fight.
What'd you think of the stoppage? Quick trigger, or was it right?
Little quick trigger. It looked like it was obviously going to happen anyway, but I think that he probably, as a champion, Junior probably deserved a little bit more time, but it appeared it was going to go that way anyway.
Yeah, keep in mind that Johnson had already scored a knockdown earlier. Let's send it up to Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Richard Steele has to step in and call a halt to the bout. The official time, 1 minute, 21 seconds of round number 11. The winner by TKO and new WBA Bantamweight champion of the world, John Michael Bam Bam Johnson.
He avenges a loss early in his career